Hey there, welcome. So today what we're going to do is, this is a bit of a one-off, but it's a follow-up on my Danu creation suite. So what I did was I made a bunch of tools. I'm going to quickly touch base on what those are, like real quickly, just go over those. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the new tool that I've added to the suite. So bear with me for just a couple of minutes here while I just quickly recap for those who don't know, and then I will show you the main thing of the suite. This will be a pretty short video today. It's not going to be overly long. It's a pretty simple tool, but it does a lot. And it falls into a niche that a lot of people need because there's not really any great tools out there for this purpose. So let me switch over. All right. So here we have the Danu suite. And what we've got is the Danu Audio is the first application. And it's just for taking special effects or music in, cropping it, changing the gain, setting the in and out, and saving it back out again. It's just a simple audio editing tool. Next, we have Danu Code, which is just a simple Lua web editor with a glossary, with a how-to, where it just tells you how to do stuff, how to set things up real simple so that you can just focus on making Lua code and nothing else. Because there's a lot of game engines out there that use Lua code, and so I wanted to make a specific user-friendly, learner-friendly Lua code editor. So that's what we've got there. Next is the image processor. Now this is basically to clean up backgrounds. So you've got the standard background, a white background, a green, a blue, and a red. And that's basically so that you can see what the background looks like against your image. So if you've got something with a lot of blue in it, you might want to set this to a red background so that you can see the blue as you're removing it and cleaning it up. There's adjustments here so that you can adjust the image that you've got. And then there's a magic grab it brush to do specialized background removal. That needs a little bit more tweaking before I'm going to release the product. There's a few fixes in there I need to make. Nothing major, but I want it to move a little bit smoother, function a little bit smoother. So I need a little bit of tweaking there. Close down the adjustments tab, open up the matte tab. Here's where you remove the background, set your alpha, clean up your edges, your fringe, etc., etc. And again, you change out your whatever you're working with. If you got trees, you don't want green, so you might go to like this, or you might go to like this, or even that. So you've got options there available. Moving on, the Danu Planner. This is a node-based planning system where you can connect things, move things around, add inputs, add images into these panels. You can add additional pages, then insert those pages here. When you click on them, opens up another page with a bunch of information that you created using the add info page. So this is basically for doing game design documents and laying out level design and all that sort of stuff. Now I have integrated this into my game engine so far. It's the only one of these tools that I've built into the game engine because being a web-based game engine, it's nice if your game design document can live with the game engine in the same location. So I put that in for convenience and ease of use. Next over, we'll come to the scenario generator. Now this just generates random scenarios. You can browse to a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet then populates. You then hit generate or generate 5, and it gives you a bunch of example scenarios here. Basically, this is for practice level design because a lot of people jump right in. They got these ideas for their levels and stuff. But if you're not like super competent in the tools that you're using, it can be more detrimental to not have this practice. And I found that a lot of times this practice makes you build things out of the box. So for instance, say you build a lot of coastal forests like I do. Well, maybe you need a little practice doing deserts or swamps or whatever. So then you generate up a few different scenarios, pick one that you like, go in and practice one evening building out a level. It's a practice tool. It's also a good idea tool. If you're trying to think of something to do and you can't, you can come in here, generate a bunch of scenarios, and read through them and go, oh, that one's great. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Go back in your game engine, make a level, right? So it's a practice tool, but it can also be functionally useful if you use it for that. Next up, we're going to jump past this one, and we're going to jump over here to the shader generator. So this one's pretty simple. There's tree. It's on blur right now. Go to trees, adjust your swing back and forth, export into whatever. Come over here to a lava background. Now these are just placeholder images, so you can see kind of what they look like. There's the tree one. see there's some shearing here, so you wouldn't use that. But you can go into lava, and say maybe you want to change that hue. Maybe you want it a little more orangey. Maybe you want it more, what about a deep red or something? Come all the way over here. There, you got a nice deep red. Make the glow strength. Turn the brightness down. There you go. Maybe you want a little more swish. And then there you go. You got a good lava. That's what you want. Export that either for SFML, which is a back-end framework for a few different game engines. But I built it in here because I use this for RGP tools, and this exports for that. Play Canvas, that's basically any WebGL2, and Godot is a slight variant on WebGL2, so it's got its own export in here. So that's why there's 3 different export buttons for 3 different purposes. That being said, that's the shader thing. So now we'll come over to the tool that I just built. That was your sum up, and now we're over here. And what this is Sprite Forge, although that I think is already taken. I did a Google search after I put the name in. So I think I'm going to call it Sprite Forger and put an R on the end there. Maybe even 2 R's just to make sure it's unique. And what this does is this takes your Mixamo or your AccuRig FBX export animation files, and it lets you export them into a sprite sheet. There's a couple of tools that sort of kind of do this, but some of them are older and they won't actually recognize the Mixamo files or the AccuRig ones properly, and they come out without any proper texture file to them. So that being said, I did this with an update, and I'm using a modern FBX stack in the background that's part of 3JS. And since 3JS has handled all the licensing and stuff on that, I don't have to worry about it. It's part of 3JS. 3JS is open source, free to use, so I'm covered that way for the FBX usage. Now that being said, I'm going to give you a quick demo. So we're going to go browse, and I'm just going to open Walking FBX, and I'm going to open that up, and it's just going to load that model and that animation, and you can see it over here. So now you can rotate, zoom around, do whatever you want. So I'm just going to move back and forth, and then I'm going to rotate. So you can see that really is a 3D model on a 3D alignment grid in a 3D space. Now you could change your camera properties up here manually. You could change your model properties down here manually, and you can set your directions, your frame out, and the size of your frames that you want manually. So you can come in here. So say you got a building in here, you could set this to 4 directions and make 1 frame each, and then you could export this at like 1024. Boom, you've got a building exported, right? And you have to change your grid to match your direction settings, by the way. I've made sure to put that in manually, just for certain fringe case scenarios, just in case someone wanted to do something different. I don't know why you would vary these 2 different from each other. Like if that's 4, that should be 4. If that's 8, that should be 8. You know, I don't know why you would change that. Now I have here 200 by 200 set as my default, because that is what Pioneer Valley Games, PV Games, uses for his sprite sheet exports. And the whole goal behind this was to try to match up as close as possible to get the same look as the Pioneer Valley Games. Now, that being said, if you want to do something else, if you're bringing in some Japanese animation style characters or some chibas or whatever, you could change this to whatever you want. If you're doing 128 by 128 or 64 by 64, you've got the option to change this out to what you want. But because I'm working with those higher quality Diablo 2 style artwork that I prefer in a game and in a game engine, that's what I built this for by default. But I've left you the ability to change all of that and do whatever you want, and just a little trial and error. But I've also built in a preset. So for anyone wanting to take 3D models and export them to be Jesse style, PV game style, I've got this preset. So you just go bang. Got to fix that model. Still a little tweaking to do. There you go. Boom. So now it's got the preset, the camera angle and everything. It's set here. It's that isometric view. So now it's pretty much ready to go, except that, do I want 8 directions and 8 frames? In this case, I do, because if you see down here, I've got these set to what RGP tools exports commonly to. So these are some of the common presets. And these are actually the presets that I want to use in my game engine. So I've pre-built them for my own purpose. But again, you can change that to whatever you want up here. Now you only have the option of 4 directions or 8 directions. And that's because in the export, it does, if you go to 4 directions, then what it's going to do is south, west, east, north. And then if you go to 8 directions, below that, it's going to do the other 4, the southeast, or the southwest, southeast, northwest, northeast, right? It's going to pump those out. And this also creates a JSON file when you export it that you can use for reference in a game engine if you need to. So I'll just show you now. So that's 8 and 8, and we're going to export that. And then what you're going to see is quickly going to cycle through on the left-hand side and in the little preview window. The little preview window is actually going to preview the PNG images that it's exporting at the 200 by 200, and the model will also rotate and stuff to match, but the preview will be the actual PNGs being exported. So export. There we go. It has created them. And now you can see that there isn't a grid mesh, the 3D grid mesh. It's just a transparent PNG file here. So now I'll open that up. And that is going to be in here, and my software, and danu suite, and exports. And here you can see we have a sprite sheet with 8 directions and 8 frames. And the top ones are I'll just click on this JSON file, south, west, east, north. Then southwest, northwest, southeast, northeast. Right? Now maybe I should open that up a little more so you can see it. It's a little harder to see there, but I'll zoom in. Let me just drag this down. Oh, actually, there is something wrong in my code. And I think I know why. I think it's because all right, let me close that. Because I rotated the character, sorry, I opened up another window over there. Well, I went and closed it down, so I can't show you. But because I rotated the character away from the normal, the camera alignment was just off for the rotation. So how you normally import the character in the default from the Mixamo position, it'll export correctly too. But I'll double check that, and at the time of release, I'll make sure that that's actually working properly, and that it actually syncs the camera and the model to the right orientation before it exports, just to be on the safe side. So not a problem there. Anyways. That is the new addition to the danu suite. A couple little bugs before I release it, and I'm going to get a couple other people to test it before I release it. But again, I think it's going to be like super cheap. I think I'm going to make it like $4.99. I just want a tool out there for the people to be able to use and to be able to make life focused on your game development, not your asset development. So this should help dramatically with your asset, right, in combination with the other tools. So have a great day, and hopefully I see you in the next one.